Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm Heidi McCutcheon of the Shelton-Mason County Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is proud to convene this conversation on tourism, which we know to be a strong driver of our local economy. Following the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. You can submit these via chat, or you can ask yourself during the question and answer. If you look under reactions, you'll see a raise hand option. And when we do that, we'll unmute you so that you can ask it. If you do this, we ask that you ensure your question is truly a question, not just a general comment. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Rachel Hansen. She probably doesn't need an introduction, but for the sake of making sure all of you know her, she is a local graphic artist and editor. She received her BA in classical studies from University of Victoria and trained as an archaeological illustrator, working as a reconstruction artist on classical exhibits. She moved to Shelton in 2003 with her husband, John, and their children. Rachel owns Image and Action Design and is the president of Northwest Event Organizers, which is where she manages Mason County's tourism promotion program. She's also the editor-publisher of Tracing the Fjord, a local magazine that heralds authentic experiences in our community. You may also know Rachel as the genius behind the Guinness World Record for lighted Christmas trees. She is the co-author of Zinn's Pacific Coastal Flavors Cookbook, also the artist behind Santa Claus, Hal Bunyan, and the Oysterman Welcome Monument. So with no further ado, it's my pleasure to hand it over to Rachel.
Thank you, Heidi. Appreciate the very lavish introduction. I think you must have copied that over from one of our things a long time ago. Anyway, today we're going to talk about tourism. Do you want me to just launch right into the presentation?
Sure thing.
Okay, so it has been my distinct pleasure to be doing tourism for Mason County for the last 4 years. And what that entails is I host the Explore Hood Canal website, and I have the honor of working with a lot of tourism partners, stakeholders in the area to try promote our absolutely fantastic, amazing assets in the community. And it has been one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever done. I absolutely am so thrilled to have been able to experience everything that's around here, and it's been wonderful to involve my entire family in this process as well. So my husband, as she mentioned, we live in Shelton. He is a pilot with Alaska Airlines, so we travel a lot around the world. And in my travels, I love bringing back some of the ideas that I find all over the world. I basically am very annoying. I look at fonts, I look at ads, I look at the way other people are doing things, and I try to capture that and bring it back to Mason County. We have the pleasure of attending trade shows all over the world because we can take our little piece of wonder anywhere with these with the opportunities that I have because of my husband's employment. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about today is just the trends in tourism. And we obviously are coming out of a very difficult year. We have a couple things that are kind of in the forefront right now. One, of course, is the current COVID situation and the rising price of fuel. Just like the shortage of toilet paper, it seems that the road trip is now become the thing that's taking the hit because everybody is stockpiling fuel, and it is affecting how far people are going. For us locally in Mason County, since the demographic that actually comes out here to visit is generally Seattle and Tacoma, this is actually kind of a good thing because people are planning to stay close to home, and they are one of our strongest markets. So this is current put out by Destination Analysts. What they do is they every week they survey about 1,200 active travelers, or people who were active traveling before COVID, and they provide a weekly address. You can find that at Destination Analysis, and it's kind of neat because it goes through everything that's happening this week. You can't get more current with this particular resource. And this week, everything is trending upwards, with the exception, of course, of the fuel prices rising and the fact that actually travel, because it is There is an incredible desire for people to travel. Prices have gone up a lot, but people are ready to go traveling. And this is something that we haven't seen until the last couple months, with the vaccine reaching roughly 72% of the normal travelers. So that's not the people, not the population, it's people who generally go on trips. They are getting vaccinated so they can go do those things they love, and they have the income to go do them. So this is the historical data. As you can see, from January, we have just been doing an upward trend for the last year. It has been incredibly hard as a tourism operator to even know how to market the area, because a lot of what we've done is inspirational, and working with my partners around the Olympic Peninsula, we have all battled with this question: do we invite people because we don't really want the people to hear, and then but we do because our businesses need them. So we've been doing a lot of inspirational stuff, a lot of messaging about masks, a lot of messaging about distancing, a lot of messaging about how to go on the more remote trails, hikes, the more unique items. And a lot of my marketing in the last few months, or for the whole year actually, has been more about generating assets for Explore Hood Canal. So getting more writers to write stories that are unique, and then that is something that we can it improves our outlook as far as when people are Googling us, we are really coming up at ranks because our stories are all unique material. And so that's really where we've been putting a lot of our focus, on building waterfall websites, bird watching websites, and targeting groups that will travel later and find inspiration on our website. Why won't it go forward? Okay. So in the next month, they did a survey on people, whether or not people were going to go traveling. And you can see from this, just in the last, from May 13th to 15th, everything has gone up. 61% of the people think that coronavirus is getting better, which is a great thing if you're planning events. It's been so difficult to plan Forest Festival, Oyster Fest, obviously everybody's so full of uncertainty. And these are really positive trends to see everything going up. It just makes us feel like we're coming out of this very dark Sleeping Beauty nightmare, and hopefully we will be seeing some positive stuff on our outlook. So these are just some words that people are seeing. So obviously you'll see that they still feel nervous, they still feel it's dangerous, but everybody is excited about the outlooks. And obviously, as you can see around town, we've been trying to promote a few events. People are so cautiously excited about something happening. We all know what the last year has been, but we are so ready for change. This is a graphic that shows what the average, these are the people that are the traveling public that have been identified by the analysts to be the ones that are marketable. And what they found is that all demographics, old, young, everybody are traveling right now. And some of them are ready to travel, and a very small portion are, wanting more information. They're usually in the demographic that are older and are still being a little bit more cautious, but generally people are ready to travel, which means great things for tourism, because that means we'll be able to have business in our stores and lodging. So I just wanted to show this graphic because it really gives an outlook of the last year and a half for Explore Hood Canal, which is our big way to reach out to folks. As you can see, for the summer months, we tripled practically, or doubled, in people going to our website. And it was really interesting because we had a lot of people from Europe. We had a lot of people from all over the United States finding inspiration. And that had a lot to do with the writers we hired to write stories. And we just had a lot of in-depth, like almost articles that were, travel journals basically. But what I love about that is 30% of the people, even though this was all over the board, all over the world, 30% of the people, as you can see from the little graphic up on the top there, were people who were in the Seattle area. And for us, that's really important because it's less than an hour or two to make it out here. And in the current situation, with all the uncertainty, to be able to make a spontaneous decision to go rent a place in Hood Canal or come out just for the weekend, just to get away from all this pressure, it's fantastic that we have such a strong demographic checking out Explore Hood Canal. And So again, one of the things that we were facing for the Olympic Peninsula and a lot of discussion was about was if we put out an ad to invite people to Hoodsport or to Union, how would the locals feel about it? And in some cases, for example, Port Townsend, it was a flat no. In fact, their whole commission, they were not allowed to spend any money on tourism. In fact, they even put out ads saying, please don't come to our area. We do not want you here. And these can be reflected in their lodging tax numbers because they're still they're still down 60% on their lodging, and they're barely recovering now because they just started inviting people. And it's just a different feeling locally about how tourism, how having strangers in your area when we're in such a difficult time. Now, as you can see, that people are feeling much more positive about it. A lot of people are 53% are happy to very happy about having visitors back, which again is a great thing when you're marketing tourism, because there's nothing worse than the people who run the stores saying, go away, take your germs and leave, which for the first time ever, I've actually had to block people on Facebook and stuff because they say some pretty dramatic things. This is our lodging tax, which tells another story, which is interesting. This is one of the metrics that shows how well Mason County is doing for lodging tax. Last year, the county board of commissioners were very concerned that we would have a downturn in travel. But I liken it to if you're going up to a ski resort and you rent a place for your whole family. We have had a steady increase throughout the year. We had a downturn, obviously, in May and June of last year when we weren't able to market at all. But as you can see from April, usually our numbers are around 33,000 on a good year, which was last year. This year, we're up to 55,000 for the month of April, which reflects attendance here in Shelton for late February and March, which I think is a very positive thing. It shows an upward trend. It means more lodging tax in the budget for the county. It means more people staying in our short-term rentals, means more inventory. It means our hotels are coming back. And honestly, as you can see from the graphic, it's kind of I think a positive thing. And it's not everywhere. It definitely is focused on rural areas. Grays Harbor, Forks, places that are rural are the ones that are having this dramatic increase. Towns are still down quite a bit over two years ago. And the other thing that's really important to note is it's not just about lodging. This is some statistics put together by Dean Runyon Associates, which is they do tourism surveys all over the United States. And this was prepared for the Olympic Peninsula, and this is specifically to Mason County, and from 2018. So it's a little bit old, but it does give you an idea on the trend and the amount of impact it has. And so what it's saying is that for the accommodations is, a portion of it, but when you look at the fuel, the food sales, the retail, the entertainment, the lodging, and the dining all combined, we have over $122 million in spending just on tourism, and that relates to all the jobs it has and obviously all the businesses. So it has a huge impact besides that lodging tax piece that we are able to spend to market it. And another thing I wanted to point out was last year was amazing for our park visitors. We had 1.38 million people came to the Washington State Parks alone. They keep really good records. It's nice to have a lot of the lodging facilities. Some of them are super awesome about sharing their numbers, but a lot of them just keep it. The only thing we have is the lodging tax numbers to really understand how well they're doing. The Washington State Parks keeps very accurate data on how many people are staying there in their parks and how many people actually visit. The biggest surprise for me was Schaefer Park, which again, because it's rural, it had an increase of 36% last year in attendance. And overall, we had a 13% attendance for all the parks, which is a lot when you consider there's 443,000 people annually at Tawana. And then you add another 14% to that. I mean, I can't imagine that many people in the summer, because obviously in the winter you go and there's nobody there. So interesting demographic. It causes a little bit of concern about what we're going to see this year, because we still have these trends with everybody having gone out and purchased RVs and camping setups, and they're all looking for places to go. So there's a term they use, revenge spending, or in this case, revenge travel. And people are eager to get out and spend money. I know I am. As soon as I can, I'm off this continent. I mean, I cannot wait to go to Canada to see my family. I cannot wait to go to England to see the rest of my family. I'm just basically, my daughter's not enrolling back in school, just in the hopes that we can go. I'm so ready to revenge travel. It's ridiculous. And people are willing to stay longer, spend more, and we all feel like we deserve a break. So we probably will upgrade and buy the nicer place, stay longer, you know, do those extra things like jump with Kapaus and, you know, spend more money and go racing at the ridge. I mean, there's a lot of things we wouldn't have done before, but now we kind of deserve it, I feel, or they feel. So what does the season hold next year? Again, shellfish, there's been some problems from last year. We had over shellfish gathering on the beaches, the public beaches. We host a website, shellfishtrail.org. And in that, we had maybe 500 people come to it in previous years every year, which we were happy with. It was a NOAA website, not too well attended. I'd say we would have last year about 4,000 people come every month. It was just ridiculous. And everybody was trying to find out information about how they could gather their own shellfish. The result is we already have 2 beaches closed in Mason County, or 1 beach closed and 1 about to get closed. Camping and RV, they're all at capacity already. Locals won't be able to find anything. And there's been a lot of people renting their private property through organizations like Hip Camp or Campodian to earn some extra money. Our short-term rental inventory has already increased by about 20%. Many of you will see we had an alcohol ban that was imposed on Lake Cushman because of a ridiculous amount of people that were up there and the issues that happened when you add a little bit of fun. And we will have reservations that mandatory at some of our favorite locations, which are going to affect locals. Although Hama Hama tells me that if you say you're a local, they have a table reserved for you. So just an FYI for anybody. And people are just doing more research. I mean, I have just looking at some of the statistics that we put up a post on Facebook, we can do the follow through and the conversion, and people really are following through to find out as much as they can find. And then they're even phoning me and asking me questions and getting things sent over. And that is also translated to, we can be more creative with our ticketed events. There's a lot of dinner events happening, which are super expensive, between $125 a person and $90 just for a seafood dinner, but it's all about the unique experience and people are willing to pay for it. So as far as organizing things, that is actually a positive that came out of last year's chaos. As far as events, our big post-pandemic takeaways are we need to be creative. Lots of events, for example, the Forest Festival, we're trying to break it up, hold the large gatherings at the end of the year when we're able to come together, but do lots of smaller COVID-safe gatherings that we can control better and focus on the family, focus on nostalgia and tradition. And we are getting a really good response from doing it that way. People are so appreciative of things happening and they're happy to participate and sponsor. So that's wonderful too. So which comes to a book, which I think I only have about 10 minutes to talk about now, is the Concierge Handbook, which is something that we came up with over the last year. And what it is basically a book so that we're all on the same page, or 80 of them as it comes out to in the end. And we put together a bunch of marketing, wild side branding. This is the theme for our tourism. It's the Wild Side Washington. And at the top there, you can see a QR code. I'm not sure if you guys can catch it, but if you click on it, it'll actually open up, and I'm sure Heidi will share it so you guys can take a look at the book afterwards. And with it, there are Mylar pages, they're changeable, there's QR codes on all the directory pages so people can share them, and they highlight the lodging, the articles, activities, points of interest, regional highlights. But the idea is we're able to give this book to all our providers so that everybody can share information about what kayaking's available, what the fishing regulations are as they change. And and also provide a connection between other guides and providers who have the book, so that people, for example, Verls may have some information about fishing, and the distillery may want to reach out because they have a guest that would like to know more about something. So it kind of gives that connection, a phone, online, and support. It's like you're hosting an event, let us get out there, let's share it with everybody so we're all communicating. And it includes these large 16-foot banners that we're going to be having at 3 different locations is the way we plan on doing it. We have the advocate locations, which will have the full book, plus the 3D map, which I'm sure you can see behind me. I have a couple of them that we framed. They're framed in nice cedar, so they're attractive. They're 3D. You put them on your wall. It's all, we designed them so that all the Hood Canal highlights, like the high steel bridge, different things that when you're talking to a customer as they walk into your office, you can easily point to them, because I know sometimes I'm like, oh my God, where is it? Well, this way it'll be written right there so you can do it. We took everybody else off the map, so really nothing else is happening in Washington except what's happening in the Hood Canal area. And then we're also gonna, so we have a bunch of people, the people who have time to talk to people are gonna be our advocate locations. They're gonna get the map, they're gonna get the window clings, they're gonna get the banners, they're gonna get support for us coming in, giving them more brochures and little holders and everything. And then we're going to have the guidebook locations, like for example, Hama Hama, where they don't have time to talk to people about this, but it'd be great for all their staff to have a resource to look up these questions. And, you know, even information about why there's low oxygen in Hood Canal. Let's just keep the first story about the fact that it's a unique biome and this is why it happened. This is the scientific reason. Now we can put our color on it. And then we're also, for hotels and stuff, we're going to have a card, a nice safe card that can be put in the rooms that'll have a QR code so the guests can go to it and we don't have to worry about sanitizing and cleaning them. And that will be something that'll be available pretty much everywhere, because QR codes are awesome and they're also trackable, so we can keep track of how well it's doing. Again, the advocates are high visible locations. When we try to make it so we have 3 or 4 in each area, they're able to visit it. They have to have a positive, authentic attitude. They are basically our representatives from Mason County. So for example, the VICs, some of our businesses, and a lot of people are excited about being a part of that. And then, oh, sorry, I just jumped right into this one. And then ultimately what's happening, and it's going to be probably coming out soon here, is we are working on an eventual, to give support to these advocates, to these concierge groups that are, we're going to try this network. We're planning on creating what we call a welcome center. And if you travel around the United States, Australia, anywhere, they usually have this really cool building. Oregon's really known for it at every major turnoff. And the idea is we're going to work with the county and all the different stakeholders to try figure out how we can bring support to bringing this to our area, to make it the gateway, not just for Mason County, but for all the folks in the Olympic Peninsula, and get them invested in it as well, to build the central location where we can have museum exhibits, we can have an area for events to gather, you know, something for some of the larger events that right now don't really have a good location. Every year it's kind of up in the air. So it'll be a multi-purpose area, but it'll be supporting the tourism efforts to welcome people to Mason County. We're going to, it's going to be a funding, we're planning on creating a proposal that has a funding partnership with private as well as public. And it's really going to be focusing on our assets with agriculture, forestry, rail, annual events. We want to work with the different groups that are having events long-term, ask them what they need in an event center, what they need to tell their story. And we want to help them, because it's hard to, if COVID's taught us anything, we need to work together to progress into the future. And we can't do things like we did in before. We all have to come together and rise to the top, I guess. So here's some photos of what I proposed to the county a while back with this crazy idea. And we'll be working on this plan and proposal to put before the whole community. And it's basically glass, wood, talk about natural assets we have here, work with our stakeholders to get those logs and everything, and then work with the museum and people. I mean, they have containers full of amazing exhibit material that we could show for them, and then they would maybe raise money and not be in dire situation as well. These are some more examples of some of the ones that are in Oregon. I particularly love this one on Highway 101 out on the coast, and it kind of includes a nature reserve. And my vision is we have like a campground, we have a really easy entrance, work with WASDOT, so it's kind of like a rest area. And people can go in, they can walk their dog, their kids can play in the playground, there's birds, there's things happening. And then when the events happen, we have the parking, we have the facilities, we have the power, we have the stage, we have all those things. A lot of it will be pretty grassroots, but as we build it up, we'll have the space to make it happen. So there you go, a lot of big ideas, and I'm really excited about this opportunity. And thank you so much for having the opportunity, and questions, fire away. Oops. And now, how do I stop sharing? There we go.
There you go. Rachel, you shared some really interesting slides and such. Can you talk a little bit more? You talked a little bit about the tourism trends locally, where people are coming to the website from, et cetera. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what does that mean to Mason County, and what might we expect to see this summer?
So we can expect to see a lot of people, as we probably already are seeing. What we have done is, because we market a lot on Facebook, originally about a year ago, we were marketing internationally because I was trying to target long-term people to come for, and I was kind of working with the Olympic Peninsula, so it was doing the whole loop. When we realized that the international was shutting down, we really focused our efforts on Portland, Seattle, demographics with perhaps, into kayaking, scuba diving, things that are kind of unique. People who love shellfish, fresh shellfish, there's actually a whole demographic for that. And we really targeted those groups so that we could try bring quality people to our area that will really appreciate our assets. And I hope, from what I have been seeing on, Facebook and stuff, and just the way that it converts over to our website, and, seeing the correlation between the two groups, I think we have been very successful, and I think we will probably see a lot more bookings for some of the higher priced items. I mean, there's one place called I think you probably shared it, was the Treetop or the Sky House over in Alderbrook. And it's considerably expensive. It's like $530 a night. But we posted that, and that one actually went viral. It got picked up by Scenic Washington and a couple others. And a few days after I posted it, I went and looked on there, because I chatted with the owner and we posted it on the Explore Hood Canal. So we had kind of a good conversation, a background with it. She shared some of what they were doing, and they had no bookings the week before. And then the week after, there was quite a few already on the Airbnb. So I think people are eager to see unique and individual things. And really, I've been trying to focus my marketing on trying to get people on those trails that have less people on them. And hopefully we will have more control over our summer than we did last summer, but it will be busy, is my outlook.
How does someone get a Wildside book, and do they need to train staff on how to use it?
The Wildside books, we're going to have 50 of them printed. They will be probably available early next week. We are going to assign the advocates ourselves based upon some research we've been doing and recommendations and just conversations we've been having in the different towns. So those are limited. We're thinking 3 or 4 per communities, VICs obviously, and then we'll pick some other businesses that are on main streets, and some of those discussions have already been had, some of them don't know yet. And those folks are going to be getting the map, the banners as they need them. Some of them won't do that. And then for the people who want the books, best thing to do is to reach out to me and let me know, and through Explore Hood Canal, or just personally through my phone number. And we can, until those first 50 are gone, we'll probably be just giving them away because we want to get that information out. So there's no charge for the book itself.
Thank you.
I think I have about 30 that are already assigned. So there's about 20 right now that I haven't put somewhere.
Okay. And are you spreading those out throughout the county? Are you kind of looking at epicenters, or?
No, I'm working, some of them are going to short-term rentals that have, 3 or 4 properties. This Skokomish asked for 3. I said, no, I can't do that, but here's the QR code. You guys can share the card. So we're trying to spread them out everywhere. There really is no, if people want the information, we will make it work so they get one, because I think it's just great to all be on the same page. And then the service will be that we will update those pages, and they can either get them online through their own, we'll have a website portal that folks that have one can get it, or we can also mail them out and deliver them for at least till the end of the contract in this year.
Thanks. Some people may have noticed that you're wearing a Forest Festival pin. Do you want to share just a little bit about what that looks like right now? I know that things are kind of evolving and changing and such, but as that comes up, that's likely something people have questions on.
We're really excited about. We're looking for sponsors if anybody is interested. I've been having a hard time getting. They finally got the sponsorship information up now, so anything helps between 100, or you can do the whole thing if you like. But what we're doing is we pick 3 weekends starting with June 4th and 5th, which is the traditional Forest Festival weekend. We're making it very grassroots. We're bringing the town downtown. We're 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We plan on having live music in the street, 2 bands to keep it just a little bit more COVID spread and also to give more variety in the music. Very excited that the City of Shelton Parks and Rec is going to be doing a cornhole championship on Friday nights in the street, which will be a lot of fun, a little bit hokey, but a lot of fun. And Kiwanis will be bringing their games down. And then on Saturday night of the 5th, we're working on putting on a lantern festival. So we'll be doing some of the stuff like we did for the Christmas Town with crafting and getting people together with kits and getting them all set up with stuff, and just try to get the community involved. So we won't have the grand parade so early. That's now on September 18th, but maybe we can have somewhat of a lantern parade in the evening as it gets dusky with a giant babe leading it. So we're working on that. If John will let me do it. And then, so that'll be happening every week, or one weekend a month till the parade on September 18th. In the July one, we're going to do Christmas in July and celebrate our forest history of that aspect of it. It's Christmas in July is a big thing all over the United States, and it'll be a lot of fun. And then they're also going to have a royalty tea at the Colonial House, which will be really fun because they bring little princesses, and the royalty will serve them. We'll have little cakes with and sandwiches with their crust cut off. And what else? We have a smoky event in August because part of Forest Festival is to promote fire safety and try to pass that message on as well. And it's his birthday that month. And then we'll have movies as it gets dark. So there's kind of just bringing the town downtown.
That's awesome. Is it on a particular weekend throughout the summer, or is it just one weekend? Like, is it typically the second weekend of the month, or?
They were just fit in with the royalty schedule actually, because they have a couple parades they're attending. So we're doing June 4th and 5th. It will start with a movie, Spirit Untamed at the theater, which will be really fun because it's a Forest Festival fundraiser, and that'll be at 3 o'clock on the 4th. And tickets will be $5, and all the proceeds will go to the Forest Festival. And then the actual event starts at 6, so that's the 4th, and we'll have the float reveal as well. And then on the 4th and the 5th, the 30th and the 31st of July, and the 20th and the 21st of August. If you go to masoncountyforestfestival.com, which is their new website, you'll see all the details, and we're pretty much updating it daily. We have country bands, we have bluegrass bands, we have all sorts of things happening.
Awesome. And so will that be on Railroad or at Loop Field?
It'll be on Railroad Avenue and Evergreen Square. We'll have one band on 2nd Street, we're thinking, facing Post Office Park. The other one will be Evergreen Square, hosted by El Serape, or the Cantina, I guess. And that's just for this weekend. And then we'll redesign it for June 4th weekend, and then we'll redesign it for the 30th and the 31st. We're very flexible. We're just trying to work with how everything works with communities, and we love everybody to participate. It's just to honor Forest Festival. It's basically just to get everybody downtown. So we're going to have vendors on the Evergreen Square side of the street, and hope that the merchants participate on the other side of the street.
See if there's any other questions. This one, it's kind of going back, but how can vendors collaborate to enhance referrals in the visitor experience?
How can vendors, we're talking about the concierge book?
Mhm.
They just need to let us know, and that's how we'll be updating things. So already, since I printed the first copy, which I sent out as a prototype, we've added 2 kayaking companies, we've added a farmer's market, we've added a couple lodging, we've added restaurants, we've taken restaurants off. So basically we're going to be trying to update it as it comes. So they just have to let me know. There is no, it's a county sponsored product. So there is no, anybody can participate as long as they're a business that is trying to work in Mason County. So just let us know.
Thank you. Okay, I am not seeing any other questions. We did set aside some time for our tourism operators in the area to share a couple of unique local venues and vendors. So I'm going to have Deidre go ahead and share.
I have one comment that came in that I just wanted to share real quick. We have, so Forest Festival has sponsors already, Green Diamond, Sierra Pacific, Mankey, there's a couple others. And so we are going to be honoring all those sponsors as well at this event. What we're trying to do specifically is get sponsors for each item. So for example, stage sponsors, but the folks that have already sponsored in the past and maybe didn't get to have an event last year, they are all definitely being honored at this event as well. So just to clarify that for all 3 months of it. So it's basically they're getting more thanks than we can possibly imagine. So we really appreciate everybody's support. Perfect.
One last question slipped in, and that is there a location picked out for the Welcome Center?
There's about 4 or 5 that are in the running, and we're doing all the homework on that. Mm-hmm.
But you're looking for easy access to 101 or?
Easy access, or work with WSDOT to create an easy access, but yes. And ideally 101 before you reach Shelton and Highway 3 so that we can capture all that traffic. We did some demographics just sitting in Hoodsport, a couple different locations just to see what the license plate numbers were. We kind of did some surveys on it. We have a lot of traffic going by that we're missing out on, and it would be nice to have something for them to stop and just show them our assets.
Great, thanks. As we do wrap up, I would like to say once again, thank you to Rachel and to all of everybody for joining today's program. Rachel, I mentioned this before, but it seems like the more wild the ideas that you come up with, the more successful that they turn out to be, and such an amazing asset for our community. So thank you for having those crazy outside of the box points of views and things that you want to do for our community. It does make a huge difference. So if you do want to find out any of the information Rachel talked about today, you can find that at explorehoodcanal.com. Deidre did share her contact information on the chat, and we'll also make sure to have that at masonchamber.com. As always, remember the chamber is here to help as we continue to help fight towards rebuilding a healthy economy. Again, you will find a recording of this presentation at masonchamber.com and can reach out by phone or email anytime. So with that, I wish everybody a great day, and thanks again, Rachel, for sharing all you're doing for our community.
Thanks, Heidi.